Today we're going to talk about a guy who was, and I'm not kidding, the most famous athlete in England. But he walked away from it all for something he believed was way, way bigger. This is the incredible story of C.T. Studd, a life of just absolute conviction.
You know this one quote? It was pretty much the compass for his entire life. It's simple, it's powerful, and it explains every single radical decision he ever made. So who was the man behind these words? Let's find out. All right, so let's set the scene. Charles Thomas Studd was born in 1860, and when I say he had it all, I mean he had it all. He came from a super wealthy family, and as a young man, he became a megastar, the best cricket player in the entire country. Fame, talent, and easy life, he had the whole package. But all of that was about to get turned completely upside down. This slide really shows you the before and after, and it is a huge difference. As a teenager, he went to hear this American preacher, D.L. Moody, speak, and that one experience just rewired his entire world. The famous athlete became a surrendered follower, his incredible talent found a totally new focus, and all that wealth, it wasn't his anymore. It was something to be given away. And this is how Studd himself described that moment. Just think about that. All the awards, the cheering crowds, the money, he said it all looked like a pile of ashes compared to what he just found. This wasn't some slow change of heart. It was instant. His whole perspective just flipped. Okay, so this new way of looking at the world, it's about to get a major test. And it all goes down while he's studying at Cambridge, one of the most prestigious universities on the planet. What he does next absolutely shocked the public and basically set the course for the rest of his life. He becomes a key part of this group that got really famous, the Cambridge 7. And look, these guys weren't just anybody. They were the best of the best, the ones who were supposed to become future leaders in Britain. But instead, they decided to leave all that behind for the danger and uncertainty of being missionaries in China. For Studd, that meant literally walking away from his celebrity sports career and a life of total comfort. But you know, making that big decision, that was really just the starting line. The decades that came next are what really show what he was made of, and it came at a huge personal cost. This wasn't about one moment. It was about a lifetime of following through. Just look at this timeline. It's a life lived on the move, but all for one purpose. He spends years deep in China. Then he heads over to India to work with students. And then, and this is the wild part, at an age when most people are thinking about kicking back and retiring, he launches his most dangerous mission ever, into the jungles of the Congo. And the price he paid? It was just staggering. We're not just talking about a career change. On his wedding day, he gave away his entire inheritance, a fortune worth millions in today's money. Just gone. For decades, he was constantly sick, and he got a ton of criticism, even from his own friends, for being so radical. But through it all, he just never, ever looked back.
And this quote, man, this is so C.T. Studd. He wasn't interested in playing it safe or doing what was possible. He believed he was called to go after the things that everybody else said couldn't be done, all driven by this rock-solid faith. And that drive for the impossible took him straight to his final and maybe most intense chapter, a mission deep into the heart of the Belgian Congo. I mean, let this sink in for a second. He's 50 years old. At 50, he's not taking up a new hobby. He's launching this unbelievably difficult, physically demanding work. He wasn't slowing down at all. If anything, he was speeding up, heading straight into one of the toughest places on Earth. And even though his last years were really hard, he was sick a lot, often working alone, his work bore incredible fruit. That little mission he started in the Congo, it eventually grew into a global organization, the Worldwide Evangelization Crusade, which is still going strong today. A pretty amazing legacy from that final push. Okay, so that's his story. But what does it all mean? What can we actually take away from a life lived so all in? This story isn't just history. It's packed with ideas that are just as challenging for us today. Well, I think there are 3 big takeaways here. First, it doesn't matter what your job is. A world-famous athlete can become a world changer. Second, and this one's tough, his life just screams that our goal isn't supposed to be comfort, it's obedience. And finally, his story totally redefines what's valuable, showing that what you give away for a cause bigger than yourself is never really lost. So in the end, he died right there on the mission field in Africa with pretty much nothing to his name.
The guy who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth died poor. But in his view, he died the wealthiest man alive, having invested in what he called an eternal reward. And this right here, this was the simple, powerful logic that drove his entire life. To him, it was just a simple equation. If he really believed that Jesus was God and died for him, well, then holding anything back just didn't make sense. No fame, no fortune, not even his own life was too much to give. And that really leaves us with one final question. C.T. Studd knew exactly what his one life was for. His story kind of puts the ball back in our court, doesn't it? It challenges us to ask ourselves, what is the one life you have for?